All right, the Cleveland Browns made a lot of moves. I mean, they made a lot of moves. And here, I'm going to show a few of them to you right off the bat. Let's just get going in this. And this doesn't even show one of the players I'm going to talk about. But I've picked two out of this that I think are good, kind of under-the-radar moves that I think are awesome. So they signed a tight end, Giovanni Ricci, the punter, Corey Bojorquez, re-signed. Devin Bush, that could be good, but ever since he hurt his knee, he really hasn't been the same player. They re-signed Mo Hurst, Mike Dunn, Shelby Harris, Hurst and Harris. Thank you so much. Really nice to have you back in the middle. Signed linebacker Jordan Hicks. We'll talk about that one. Signed Hakeem Adeniji, and then re-signed Ze'Darius Smith, and of course the trade for Jerry Jeudy. But I have two players that I think were the best that will absolutely help you and creates kind of this nice depth in position that maybe you didn't have before. So before you do that, if you have yet to subscribe to this channel and you've been watching for a while, go for it. If you're new to the channel, watch the video, maybe a couple other ones, then hit that subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of the Sports Talk Extra community and what we're doing here. So we're going to go one on the defensive side of the ball, one on the offensive side of the ball. And the first player that I want to talk about is a linebacker by the name of Jordan Hicks. All right, Jordan Hicks, let's just talk about him a second. He played for Jim Schwartz in Philadelphia. He is 31, almost 32 years old, but that doesn't mean he can't still play. He was drafted in 2015. He's a guy who's a decent athlete, 236 pounds, 6'1", big for his height. Let's put it that way. But here's what we find quickly when you look into a guy like Jordan Hicks. His graded out fourth best season of his career was last year with Minnesota. He played the last 5 years, honestly the last 6 years, and most of his career, he has been a starter in this league. He has absolutely been a starter. In fact, on 3 different occasions, the 3 years that he played for Arizona, he played over 1,000 defensive snaps in each of those 3 years. That's insane. Now, subsequently, those were his 3 worst graded years. He had his best years in Philly under Jim Schwartz in his early career. As a rookie, he graded out as an 81. Second year, he graded out almost 1,000 snaps as an 89 on PFF, 88.4. We round up here. All right? That's insane. And then since 2016, he's put together a bunch of 60s and some low 70s, things like that. Grades, and then last year he had his best year since 2016 with the Minnesota Vikings. So that was a heavy blitzing scheme. He wasn't the guy blitzing, but he was the guy working off of it because he only had 1 sack in the year. But this is a guy who absolutely has some ability. I'm really excited to see what he can bring as a rotational linebacker piece. You already have linebackers. We know that. We know that. All right? You already have Owusu Koromoa, and now you add Hicks to that. I think that's a pretty good move. But I said that I had 2 moves for you. So the second one that I want to talk about is a running back, and I'm telling you, Dogs by Nature did a ridiculous piece on this guy. Running back Nyheim Hines. Do you remember him with the Cleveland Browns, or not the Cleveland Browns, the Indianapolis Colts? Because I do. I remember him playing for the Colts. He played for them the first 4 years of his career. He never had a ton of rushing yards, all right? But he was a great third down back. He was fast. Oh, my goodness, was he fast. And if you don't believe me, I have something for you. All right, this is his RAS. If you don't know what that is, it's relative athletic score. And yes, the score itself is not that high. I understand that. And if you see Nyheim Hines run, he is more of a straight line speed runner. Okay, so here's where he got hit on it. Very poor for size, 5'8", 198. That's very small for an NFL running back. All right. He also got hit on his short shuttle and 3 cone jill. So his agility was bad. His explosion was good. His speed is elite. All right. So here's what happened to him, because you might notice something. If I pull this up right here, you'll notice that in 2023, nothing. See this? Nothing. What happened to him? Where'd he go? He got traded to the Buffalo Bills in 2022 from the Colts, and then he didn't play at all in 2023. So the question has to be like, what happened to the guy? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I have an answer for you. All right, this is just crazy to me. All right, he was in an accident, and he says up and down, and based on the story, I have a thing to believe him. He was getting gas in his jet ski. He was on a dock getting gas. It was his turn to ride, and he noticed a boat that was coming straight for him. So while getting gas, he tried to gun it to get out of the way of the boat. He hopped on the jet ski and went, but he had a friend that was doing something, supposedly going 30 miles an hour, right? And he was also swerving out of the way of this boat that was coming at them, and they collided with each other. So he gets in this accident, and you're like, all right, so what happened? Well, what happened was a torn ACL and LCL in his left knee. That's what happened. And this was days before training camp started with the Buffalo Bills. Nyheim Hines has never been a guy that is a number 1 back. What Nyheim Hines has always been is a change of pace back and a return man. So the Browns are bringing him in here. I don't think you're going to see him a ton on the offensive side of things. You could see him a little bit, but you are going to see him as someone who can prevent or provide some really good return man capabilities. So these are the kind of signings that every once in a while I'm like, okay, I like when this is made. I don't know. I know they signed him to a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. I don't know what that contract looks like as far as the guaranteed money goes. But from what I'm hearing, he's very healthy. He's expected to be fully ready by the time that training camp starts. He should be good to go. And based on how early this happened, I mean, this had to happen in July or maybe early August of last year. So he's probably pretty close to being back to 100% right now. But man, how devastating must that have been? He even went out and said, like, here's a quote. He said, "It's a terrible look, and it's been really hard. I'll show it to you. It's been really hard. The opportunity I had this season, and truthfully, not even screwing around on the jet skis. If I was doing jumps or being stupid, I wouldn't even really be upset about this. But it's the fact that I literally wasn't even riding the jet skis. I was just getting gas. And this happened." So, yeah, terrifying, understandably. Luckily, he wasn't hurt worse. And, hey, you guys may have just found yourself the best kick returner you've had in a while and a good secondary back. All right, thanks for watching. And like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.